Welcome to the Iron Fist Boxing Brotherhood. I am your host, Cortez, and invite you to sub and come check out our Facebook and Instagram pages.
Let's get ready to rumble!
What makes us drawn to a supervillain? Some of the greatest villains contain traits that we see in ourselves. Maybe we can relate to their troubled past and even for a moment see things as they do. Villains are directly connected to the hero and our worthy adversary. The perfect villain knows how to strategically find mental weakness and get deep into your mind. And finally, a good villain entertains in such a way that a part of you secretly is rooting for him to win. Floyd Mayweather is boxing's notorious villain, gifted with lightning speed and an unbreakable mentality, coupled with legendary discipline and anointed self-belief, not only to outclass his opponents as if they were novices, but to silence those who rooted against him. What if I told you that this unique individual started learning his craft at the age of 3 years old and would dedicate his whole life to the sport of boxing as if it were a science, mastering every detail to polished perfection. Even as a young man growing up, with all the adversity pressing against his mind, such as having his father go to prison and mother fighting the demons of heavy drug addiction, young Floyd remained focused on his dream and always knew he was destined for a brighter future, and overcame these obstacles to later become the wealthiest athlete in sporting history, generating over $1.7 billion in pay-per-view revenue. In this story of the warrior's mentality, we will take a journey on how Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s dedication, hard work, and self-belief helped him reach the very top of the global stage by becoming the villain everyone loved to hate. Young Mayweather Jr. was born in Grand Rapids, Michigan, which was known as a furniture capital of America and its abundant lumber yards. Floyd was no ordinary child growing up. He, at even a young age, was always up to mischief and had an air of confidence to his way. He would even mention to his female cousins if they were to get married, they would lose the Mayweather name, which he would make famous someday. Rightfully, Floyd was confident in himself because he began his boxing discipline at just 3 years old. His father, Floyd Mayweather Sr., would begin to train him by putting small boxing gloves on his teeny little fists and would teach him how to throw uppercuts and combos at the doorknob, which were about his height. You could say Floyd Mayweather Jr. had boxing in his DNA. His father was a pro and his uncle Roger was a former welterweight champion of the world. Young Floyd Mayweather would focus on his training as if it were a sacred ritual. He would run mile after mile to build endurance, while his father followed him on a bike. Floyd would eat, dream, and sleep boxing. He would often go to the gym early in the morning and wouldn't return till late at night. As a teen, his hard work and sacrifice would pay off as he would go on to win one national championship after another. He would always thank his father above and his father, Floyd Mayweather Sr., for all his success. On one side of his young life was filled with potential and light, but on the other side was filled with darkness and sorrow. His mother would fall victim to the clutches of drug addiction, and his father seemed to always find himself in trouble. He would later spend 3.5 years in prison for selling narcotics. Mayweather, at the age of 16, had to become a man and take care of himself, but at the same time keep his focus on his future goals. With his father in prison and mother an addict, boxing became an outlet. He dedicated himself so deeply to his passion that it became a way to support the trouble he faced at home. Floyd's saving grace was his grandmother Bernice, who would step in for an absent mother and father who would be described as Mayweather as a rock in his life, who would always take his side. She would tell him, "Don't worry, Floyd, but focus on boxing and school because one day you will be a champion." Mayweather would never forget what his grandmother told him. When he was able and ready, he rewarded her with a 5-bedroom house and a 3-bath home which she could call her own. Floyd definitely never forgot his grandmother's advice, and from the ages of 15 to 18, he won 3 Golden Gloves in 3 different weight classes. Won national titles as he competed in the Olympics, winning a bronze for the United States, in which many felt he was robbed of a gold medal. On October 11, 1996, Mayweather Jr. made his pro debut alongside his uncle Roger Mayweather as his trainer to face Robert Obedera in a second-round knockout victory. Within 2 years of his boxing career, Floyd began to develop his persona with the nickname of pretty boy Floyd Mayweather. What set Mayweather apart from everyone else was his tactical ability to box, and lightning quick reactions and counter punches made it almost impossible to break his Philly shell defense. He quickly arose the boxing ranks and was known as a defensive genius with surgical precision. 10 years into his pro career, and Mayweather had all the tools and talent, but was still not regarded as a pay-per-view star like he desired, but seemed all the attention would go to his arch rival and enemy Oscar de la Hoya, who was an Olympic gold champion and gained his notoriety in the pros by defeating Mexican legend Julio Cesar Chavez. Everything Oscar had, Mayweather wanted, and was on a mission to destroy him and take his spot as the face of boxing. Floyd Mayweather ended his 10-year contract with Top Rank Promotion and created his own promotional brand and changed his entire persona to the flamboyant Money Mayweather, who would trash talk his opponents to purposely make them angry, to use their aggression against themselves and counterattack their weak and tired state. Floyd openly took on the role of supervillain and quickly drew national attention when HBO launched their special series called 24/7, which would change the way boxing was promoted. The bitter feud would show the real hatred the two superstars had for each other and piqued the interest of millions of fans, making their fight the richest pay-per-view event in history, generating over $120 million in revenue. In a complete chess match, each fighter displaying their own strengths and knowledge of the sport. They had both known since early childhood. Mayweather's youth and stamina was able to overcome the golden boy Oscar de la Hoya and claim victory as the villain. After this fight, Floyd Money Mayweather's career rocketed simply because everyone wanted to see their hero beat the brash and flamboyant Mayweather. But they would quickly find out that their heroic champions for many different countries would always fall short, making the villain of the boxing era even more popular. After defeating Oscar de la Hoya, Mayweather would go on to face the British champion Ricky Hatton and brutally knocking out the stalwart warrior. Then he would show the Mexican legend Juan Manuel Marquez that there were levels to the game and he wasn't on his by outclassing the champion. He would put on another masterclass run and defeat fighters such as Sugar Shane Mosley, Victor Ortiz, Miguel Cotto, Robert the Ghost Guerrero, and outclassing the youthful Canelo Alvarez and going to war with the Argentinian Marcos Maidana before he would face the biggest test of his career, Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao was loved by all. He was the inverse of Mayweather. For years the public wanted this fight to happen, but it never materialized. After much negotiation and patient waiting, the two contractually signed and the super fight of the era was about to happen. The riddle of Manny Pacquiao was, how do you beat somebody that has power, speed, and appears not to get tired? In the fight that many thought that Mayweather would lose and get dominated, he showed class and strategy by patiently countering Manny Pacquiao every time he came in and making him pay for any mistake. He would analyze Manny Pacquiao's aggression like a supercomputer, then break it down into simple patterns, then completely neutralize the Filipino superstar's attack. Each round, Mayweather would inch by inch beat Pacquiao and would win the fight in a very patient, anaconda-like way, setting new records as the most lucrative fight in history. Once again, Mayweather reclaimed victory and was the champion of the world and proved all his doubters, haters, everyone wrong. But I think the most satisfying for him, like I said, he loved to play the villain role, and once again, the villain won. With all the pressure in the world, Mayweather stuck to his game plan and beat the Filipino legend in a fight that cost $100 just for a pay-per-view order and silenced all his critics and officially became the world's richest athlete. After defeating Manny Pacquiao, Mayweather would go on to fight and beat Andre Berto, then, in a spectacle of a boxing match, knock out Conor McGregor. I have to admit, I wasn't a Mayweather fan at first. I was taken back by his ego, his personality, his flaunting of money, his demeanor. Everything about him rubbed me the wrong way. But I began to notice as I would watch his fights, I would watch him. He would always train. He was always dedicated. He was focused. The man wouldn't drink. He wouldn't smoke. He wouldn't do anything because he said that those abilities were given to him by God and he wasn't going to disrespect that gift that he received. He would say that his health was his wealth and that his body was a temple that he would take care of forever. With time, I've come to really appreciate Mayweather because knowing more about his childhood, he had every reason not to succeed in life. His father went to prison. His mother abused drugs. He was born in poverty. But the only difference with Mayweather is his self-belief that he could accomplish great things. I'm sure in dark and hard times he held on to that with everything he had. He would walk to the gym even when it was snowing miles away. He would stay there from morning till night. He would run miles upon miles to train. He would hear his grandmother's voice saying that you will be a champion one day, and he followed through. He wanted to make her proud. I am impressed by what he has accomplished in his life and continue to accomplish. And I know that if we focus in our goals just like he did, we could accomplish great things someday as well. I'd like to thank you for listening to today's series of the warrior mentality of Floyd Mayweather. I invite you to subscribe and to like, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.